a special treat in night school. September 2nd is a big day. It's the return of our fall season, but more importantly, happy 80th birthday will be the wishes for you, Mr. Lukas. It's been a great run throughout your career. Can you imagine still doing it at this point in your life?
I enjoy it more now than I ever did, but imagining whether I'd be here at 80 still training world-class horses and getting in that main arena, no, I didn't think so. I thought I'd be a retired basketball coach in the state of Wisconsin at that point.
You'd have made a hell of a TV commentator over the years if you ever chose to go that way. You've never been short of good comments and good fodder for the media and the give and take from the media. Does that go back to your early days in your basketball career and some of your acquaintances in the basketball arena?
No question about it. As I got into the thoroughbred full time, and got away from the coaching more and more, with the coaches, you're required to by the NCAA and so forth to do those press conferences. Not all of the coaches, trust me, want to do them, but they have to do them. And in horse racing, of course, we can pick and choose. But I got to the point in my career where I have a lot of friends in the media. I have. After so many years of being in the derbies and Preaknesses and stuff, you get to the point where you get to know the guys pretty good, and you know which ones you can talk to and which ones you can't. And I had a friendly exchange with a lot of them, and I think I have good rapport with them. I'm not popular with every one of them, but they're not all popular with me either.
Bobby Knight's a good friend of yours. I know over the years he had the famous quote, "I want to be buried face down so all my critics can kiss my ass."
Yeah.
You've never quite gone that far with the press, but you've had some fun with them.
Oh yeah, and I take offense to some of the stuff that comes out, and I have no problem with stepping out and saying, hey, they'll come around 30, 40 of them at the Derby or the Preakness or Breeders' Cup, and be at the edge of the barn, and if I see one of them that I thought was out of line, I'll say, hey, how about this? And I call him out, and then we'll get it over and usually clear the air doing that, which is great. But Bobby always said, of all the things you're going to do in your life, you'll dislike that the most, but it hasn't been quite that bad.
Wayne has always been a great source for the media. He would fill up your notebook every morning. He was the first to realize among trainers, I believe, the importance of the media in reaching the public, the importance of public relations. And no matter what the subject, he had an opinion on it. Show up at his barn at 6 o'clock and throw him no matter what kind of pitch, a curveball, a fastball, and he would hit it out of the park. He would just fill your notebook up with all sorts of information, all sorts of opinions, and a lot of insight. I think he's one of the great horsemen of all time, obviously, but he shared his knowledge, and inherently he's a teacher. And I think that is evident by all the assistants that came up under him and have now gone on to successful careers, but he's also taught the media a great deal about this great game.
Guys who are competitive, you're in that genre, guys who are successful and competitive and have that adrenaline going, that's part of the drive. I mean, that's what makes you successful, is that right?
Oh, I think so, without a doubt. I think that if you're into this or coaching, you're into the whole thing. You take great pride. I just said to Steve Haskins of the Blood Horse, I said, I'm real comfortable here today. And I said, I'm comfortable in my own skin. I feel comfortable. I don't have a 900 number whether I should run a horse today or tomorrow, and I'm okay with it. And if he runs last, I'll handle that too.
Percentages are part of the game now with trainers. I mean, guys are looking at the stats. When you first got into it, the numbers weren't published like they are to now. We've had trainers on night school in the past, Dale Romans, Tom Amos. Guys talk about how they have to look at their percentages to keep owners. You're not a guy at this point in your career striking at 27, 28%, that kind of deal, like you may have been at a different point in your career. Do the percentages dictate how horses are being trained today?
A little bit, I think. The young people are maybe way too conscious of that, way too overdone on that. I don't buy into that at all. I had one of your colleagues call me and say right at the end of the interview, actually, what you're talking about here. He said, Wayne, do you realize you're batting 12%? I said, I'm doing a hell of a job. I'm training 5% horses. And so that's the way I feel about that. The percentages, if you're in the claiming horse business and you have a chance to maybe pad your percentages because if a horse isn't doing good, you can drop him. I can't drop Take Charge Brandy. If she's running bad, I got to stay there. If Will Take Charge throws in 3 bad ones, I can't say, oh, let's run him for 50. So your percentages are very difficult if you're in that upper echelon league.
You've never been a guy to mince words when it comes to the subjects and the topics in the racing industry. Jack Van Berg called it chemical warfare going on in the training game these days. Do you follow in that stance that the way horses are being trained today more through the veterinary medicine than good horsemanship, or do you not see that in your observations on the backstretch?
I think a little bit of both, maybe. I don't. I think that at the higher level, at the bigger tracks, Santa Anita, Belmont, even Churchill, Keeneland, the better tracks, Gulfstream. I think that those trainers and those veterinarians are very, very much on the up and up. I think we got too much at stake. A Wayne Lukas, a Bob Baffert, a Graham Motion. You're not going to jeopardize our career by pushing the envelope in any way, shape, or form, and we're not going to let a veterinarian that maybe is a little ambitious do that either. So I think it's good. I think that I've always said desperate people do desperate things. Yeah, I think if you're in a smaller, real small Class C track and you're trying to pay the feed bill and you got 4 horses, maybe a guy would take a chance. But I think that the perception is that all horses are being over-medicated. That is not true. And I think that if the public could only see it at the best level, the care that they're getting and so forth, and what we do to keep them, healthy, I think it would bring, a whole different idea. We have that. We need a PR program probably to educate the public and more on what we're doing. And then that and uniform medication rules to put some teeth in and make everybody accountable at every state under the same rules is almost a must.
Well, I feel like I was fortunate to have the job that I did with him, and I started out from the ground floor and galloping horses and foreman and assistant, and just learned a lot of things about the business along the way. And we're around a lot of good horses, so fortunate to learn the way he liked to do things, and had a lot of winners. It was great. We all worked hard, and we were there every day and paid attention and appreciated the horses that we worked around, and we all got along and helped each other out. And so I would say that it just was one of those type of things that worked good for all of us. That we loved the horses, we loved the game, and we liked our boss.
Criminal Type is second still by 2. Easy Goer on the outside is third. Easy Goer gains on the outside of Criminal Type, which is also gaining on the outside of Housebuster. The pass being full. Housebuster on the rail leads by a neck on the outside. Criminal Type second by a half further out. Easy Goer remains in third. Criminal Type on the outside gets the lead. Housebuster on the rail coming down again. Those two to the wire.
And they're coming to the final furlong. Lady Secret in front by 4. Friend Valentine, outstandingly classy Kathy, and here is a brilliant champion. Lady Secret, another flawless performance.
Now past the 8th pole, Lucy is just galloping along by some 9 lengths. Time of Sale remains second. Rare Thrill is closing some ground. Lucy all alone in the Anokia Stakes.
It's going to be the filly over the boards, but now Pyramid Peak is coming on. Serena's Song, she's going to have just enough left, and Serena's Song wins the Haskell. Pyramid Peak gave her a scare late, and Sidney finished third.
Steinlen's in tight. He's looking for racing room toward the inside. Sabona's coming hard. Zilzal unleashing a furious one on the outside. Steinlen, a daring move on the hedge, gets the lead. Sabona, one last lunge. Steinlen gets it in the final strides. Hose Thunder Gulch unwavering on the outside. Star Standard is giving his all, but his best is going to be second best today. It's going to be Thunder Gulch. The Derby winner has won the Belmont Stakes. 5 lengths off the lead of Winning Colors, who turns for home here at Churchill Downs. Stevens going to a vigorous left-handed whip, holding on by 2. Goodbye Halo is charging hard. Here comes Personal Ensign, unleashing a furious one on the outside, but it is still winning colors. Goodbye Halo. Personal Ensign, a 16th of a mile from the wire. Winning colors is there. Personal Ensign, a dramatic finish, and here is the wire, and it is Personal Ensign there with winning colors in a photo.
You talked about the higher levels of the game. You know the highest level, 14 Triple Crown race wins. That just brought a smile to your face. I mean, you can't probably hear that without feeling a sense of accomplishment. You passed Sonny Jim Fitzsimmons when you won here with Oxbow in 2013 at the Preakness Stakes. Put those 14 Triple Crown wins kind of in your mental Rolodex and spin them around a little bit. Tell me about the ones that stand out most to you.
Well, first of all, they slip up on you. You know, I say this in all sincerity. When I rolled in here with Oxbow, I think some of your colleagues said to me, "You're right on the verge of, you know, passing Sonny Fitzsimmons." I thought, "Damn!" You know, I knew we'd won what we'd won and everything, and but the ones that stick out are the ones, you know, in the path or on the journey. I think all of the derbies are important. Those Breeders' Cups, some of those are a blur. You know, we got 20 Breeders' Cup wins, and some of those are a blur. I thought, damn, you know, somebody will say, "Boy, I was there when Success Express beat somebody," and I said, "Geez, you know, I even forgot about that one." And I don't say that taken lightly, but I have my memorabilia put up in a trophy room in the basement and stuff, and I was complaining about something the other day, and Steve Hobby, a good friend of mine, another fellow trainer, says, he said, "Look," he said, "stop." He said, "Why don't you just go home and stand in your basement and look around?" and I said, "You know, you put it in the right perspective."
With square footage in your memorabilia room's your biggest problem, you're doing all right, huh?
Exactly.
Well, look at Wayne Lukas, a.k.a. the Rhinestone Cowboy. You can never count him out. Going back to the 1990s, he was always loaded. Every spring he had something that could run, and he was the guy that most riders looked toward if they were looking for a live Kentucky Derby horse, and for me it was Grindstone. I was fortunate enough to win the Louisiana Derby on him, second the Arkansas Derby with a very, very poor post, so I was expecting good things from him in the Kentucky Derby, and he certainly delivered.
And down the stretch they come! Unbridled Song, Cavalier on the inside, out in the middle of the track, Grindstone is closing stoutly. It's Cavalier on the inside and Grindstone on the outside. McCarron and Bailey, here's the finish. Too tight to call.
It was a hard-fought race. I think it was the narrowest margin of victory in history, a scant nose. But all in all, he gave me a thrill, gave me my second Kentucky Derby, and I'll be forever grateful to Wayne Lukas for that.
Give me a little secret of your health. I mean, here, 80 years old, you've got as much moxie as anybody in the game. I mean, you know, the balls to say things, stand your course, run horses in races where you think they fit. But yet, your health is great. You're on horseback most mornings, every morning. And how do you do it? I mean, is there some wheatgrass you're drinking, or what's the deal?
I eat all junk food. All of my favorite restaurants have a box that says "Drive up, please," and I get up every day at 3:30, no matter where I am. I don't ever take a day off. I'm a horse trainer. I flirted with the idea of trying to do something like that, take a day off and everything. I've only missed a few days in probably 10 years, and most of them are because, you know, some event I couldn't change or a speaking engagement out of town. But I get up. I really don't have a very good diet. I got to be honest with you. I was telling Bob Costas he said, "What do you eat every day?" And I told him. He said, "Holy moly!" He said, "Don't." He said, "We can't publicize that. We got health shows." But anyhow, we get. I get out and I ride every day. I've never drank and never smoked, and so I think that helps a little bit. And probably I better give a little credit to my mother. The gene pool I think is very good. She was 94, and my dad was late. Yeah, right at 90. So, I don't know. That's something you can't really put your finger on. And I always say at the end of my speeches, live every day as if it's your last, because one day you'll be right.
You had a pretty good pedigree then, as a guy who's made his living picking out pedigrees. What would you go for in the sales ring?
I don't know. My mother is obviously a good broodmare. My brother's in the Hall of Fame as a golfer, so.
Outstanding family. Wayne, a couple more points with you before we let you go and celebrate your career. You've had some great owners, and I know behind every great trainer is a series of great owners. And over the years, Gene Klein of the San Diego Chargers, going back to some of your earlier days, and the Calumets back, early on, and all the way through Bob Lewis, W.T. Young. When you went into a little bit of a drought, upon the passing of those gentlemen, really, in honesty, you pointed that out, that you can't replace these kind of guys immediately.
No way.
What are the impacts of the W.T. Youngs, of the Bob Lewises on this industry?
Well, that's getting harder and harder to find those type of individuals that have a passion. I will say this, Ahmed Saez has got it. I mean, I have never been around a family, him and his entire family, that have the passion for the sport that they have. And I feel blessed that I've been able to train for him and have gotten, to know him personally and get into this. He's amazing. But when you look back, there's no question that Overbrook Farm and Bill Young, Bob Lewis and Gene Klein, the people you just mentioned, had a tremendous impact on what we were able to do. They let me get in the draft, so to speak, and get the players or the horses that were important and ones that I thought I could win with. And they didn't put any hobbles on me. They let me go, and they didn't throw the money out there frivolously, but they did give me a great wheelbase to work from. And I would never been here. We wouldn't even be talking about these records and stuff if it hadn't been for them.
Well, first of all, I mean, it was such an honor to ride for Wayne to begin with. I introduced myself to Wayne after I'd had a really big day at Keeneland. I'd won, it was my first day riding at Keeneland. I'd won 3 out of the 4 races on the card. So I went by his barn and said, Wayne, my name's Donna Barton. I know you like to ride the hot hand. I won 3 races here yesterday, so right now that's me. And obviously it took some false bravado to approach him that way, but it worked with Wayne. He likes that. He likes for people to be passionate about what they're doing and then do it with passion, and believe in themselves. And so between my work ethic, which has always been good, and the way that he looks at racing, we were able to get on the same page really quickly. And I just loved riding for him. I told him one day, after I'd been riding for him about a year, I said, you know what I hate about riding for you, which isn't a good way to start a conversation with a Hall of Fame trainer. And he said, no, what? And I said, your horses look so good in the paddock and feel so good when I get on them that in the post parade on every race, I think there's no way that this horse gets beat. And then sometimes they get beat. But he was great to ride for.
Great riders over the years. You've always been a guy who wanted to play the hot hand. A lot of trainers will downplay the role of the rider. You've gone and said, I want to go get this guy because he's hot, that sort of thing like that. Your first Triple Crown win was with Codex. Angel Cordero with one of the most controversial rides, and probably the ride may have gotten you to the winner's circle and got you that first Derby when he floated out Genuine Risk at the top of the stretch. Talk about the best riders you've put on your horses over the years. Who would you spotlight?
Well, I've really been blessed, and I'm very careful over my career not to rank them 1, 2, 3. Obviously, Angel Cordero's right up there, way up there. Maybe he might be the best Monday through Saturday of anybody I ever used. Had great luck, even with Shoemaker late in his career, rode some good horses for me. Lafitte Pincay, certainly. I had a great affinity for Jerry Bailey and Pat Day. I mean, Gary Stevens, we kind of got it together, meaning where our careers kind of got together and went parallel, and he's still a dear friend. I fear him on any race. I think he's one of those guys. He's a money player. He's liable to show up anytime and beat you. And so down through the years, I don't know if I'm missing anybody, but those guys were so instrumental in my career. And I really wasn't very easy to deal with because that basketball coach came out of me a little bit there. If they were playing well, I put them on. If they weren't, I said, sit down. And Pat Day was kidding me the other day. He came by the bar and visited. He said, how many times did you fire me? And I said, I don't remember. He said, a lot. And I said, no, come on now. And but I would change. I always used to say, we're just going to date, boys. We're not going to get married.
That's another one. If the biggest problem you have is how many times you fired Pat Day, you've done all right in your career. One last thing. Let's look forward to the future. I know one of the things you've done at Oaklawn Park, and you do it at Keeneland as well, is sometimes bring some younger kids down to the winner's circle after a race. How important for you now at 80 and at the tail end of your career, but not slowing down, but to pay it forward and to leave something for the next generation in this game? How important is that to you?
I'm very conscious of that right now. I started about 7-8 years ago of taking a young, just out of the crowd. I walk up to a group of parents and I say, come on, they got a 7 or 8 year old, and I said, come on, we're going to get our picture taken. Of course, the kids are shocked and the parents love it. They say, oh yeah, go. And but kids don't relate to horses. They relate to cars now. They know they can list all the top 10 in the NASCAR standings. So they maybe not tell you the Preakness field on any given day, but I take them down there. It's amazing how excited they get, and I think it makes an impact. An interesting thing happened to me here just this year. I was at the Kentucky Derby, and a young man, maybe 20, 21, 22, I'd guess, come up and he said, "Do you remember me?" And I said, "No, should I?" I said, "I don't remember you. I'm sorry." He said, "When I was 7, you took me to the winner's circle." And he said, "I went down with you," and he said, "We took the picture. I have it. You signed it." And he said, "I'm in business right now, and I'm doing very, very well. I'm married." And he said, "I have that picture on my wall." And he said, "It's in my office." And he said, "I treasure it." And I thought, damn, when he walked off, we shook hands. I said, "You know what? I wish I'd have done that a lot earlier in my career."
The first 80 years were amazing. There's no telling what's left in store. D. Wayne Lukas, a living legend. We thank you for joining us in Night School.
Thank you so much for having me. It's fun.
Go to horseplayernow.com to get your free copy of the September issue of Horse Player Now magazine, our free digital publication that this month features the life and times of D. Wayne Lukas. It's D. Wayne at 80, a special commemorative issue. Download free today.